Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got two replays in the French Tier 7 light tank, the HMH AMX 1357, or just the AMX 1357 because the HMH AMX 1357 and the 1357 are, well, quite literally the same tank. The HMH 1357 is a tank that you can get in the D-Day earn-up. The reason it's after the Eagle 7 in terms of making the videos is because I think this is the second choice tank in this pick. Unless you're a light tank driver, in which case this is probably first. And that's because this tank is a really good tank, and actually, arguably, I think this is probably better than the Eagle 7. But it's a hell of a lot harder to get the most out of. One, the penetration isn't that great. At 143 on the standard, 195 on the premium, and the amount of times you see tier 9 games, you really need the premium rounds. And the reason I say that is because you basically have no ammo either. The amount of times you run out of ammunition in this tank is a pain in the ass. It runs out of ammunition a lot. And the problem is, if you don't take full ammunition of both, well, okay, start again. If you don't take full ammunition of either AP or APCR, you have these awkward situations where you get to fire 3-4 shots in this clip, because it has a special 8-shot clip for 90 damage each shell, which is a gimmick of the tank and makes it a hell of a lot of fun to play and satisfying when you get it off, that you basically will have situations where when you get to it, you'll have like 5, and you'll see that in the next replay actually, that you'll end up having like 3 ammunition left. And then you go, oh god, I've got to now reload the other clip. And then you fire the other clip so much that you end up having like 2 shells left on that one. And you have like an awkward time where you have to go for a full reload and reload 2 shells in a clip and then 3 shells in a clip. And there is a lot of games where you run out of ammo. Because like I said, this tank runs out of ammo very, very quickly. It's a lot better than it used to be, because I think it only used to be like 56 rounds or something like that. It used to have a whole 20 less rounds, which was extremely awkward. Like I said, this gun can be very derpy, which is a problem. Which again doesn't help with the rounds as well. And for a light tank, it does have good view range when you set it up, but it's a bit sluggish as a light tank, and it really does struggle up to that 61 kilometers an hour top speed. Which means, and 61 kilometers an hour top speed is also not the quickest for a light tank. There's multiple different ways you can set it up to make it viable for you and your playstyle. I do think this is a very, very good light tank, and when you get to have fun with it, it is probably a hell of a lot more fun than the other two. Way more fun than the Jackal. I really don't like the Jackal myself, and I wouldn't recommend the Jackal, to be honest. The only good thing going for that is it's a dual crew trainer. That's pretty much it for the Jackal. Unfortunately, it just gets trashed otherwise. But yeah, this tank is really fun. And for me, this would have been the first choice pick all the time. But like I say, for most people, they would struggle with this tank, and the Eagle 7 would be a far more solid choice. So, in terms of a crew on the MX 1357, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, 6th Sense, Situational Awareness, Camouflage Expertise, Muffled Shot, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun. The 3 sets of gun perks because it's a fairly derpy gun, and I want to make sure that I can hit as many of these shots as humanly possible, and not waste that many shells, because like I say, you do run out of shells a lot. The 2 camo perks, like Muffled Shot and Camo Expertise. Camo Expertise to make my camo just that little bit better, which is always great. Muffled Shot to help me keep my camo after firing, well, decrease the effect of firing on my camo by 55%. Which is always nice, especially for when you're in those bushed situations and you can just unleash this clip. Which is, yeah, great. And in terms of equipment, I run optics, camo net, and vert stabs. Vertical stabilizers, again, to help this tank fire better on the move, fire better in general. And optics to be able to make my view range even better, because I'm a light tank, I want to be able to spot. And being able to devalue people's camos and spot at full view range is always a great thing. And a camo net to make the camo filthy, because the camo can be really, really good with a camo net. Now, you could decide to drop the camo net and run the traction system instead, which would help you go at 67, I believe, which would be pretty damn quick for a light tank. But the problem with the 1357 is that its engine power really is not that great. It's very, very sluggish to get going. I mean, it's got 17 horsepower per ton, which is pretty damn nice, but it's only 250 horsepower, so it's very, very slow to get going. If you hit a tree, you lose all your engine power. Yeah, it's not very nice at times in terms of the mobility, and especially if you're going against other light tanks, which you can absolutely shred, by the way. But if you go against other light tanks, they have you for mobility all the time, every time, which can be a bit painful. So you could run the powertrain as well, just to give you that better engine power, and thus, you know, help you with the top speed. So in terms of this first game, on Kaunas, we're up to 1900 damage so far. We've just managed to get the kill on that VZ-44-1. There's only 4 tanks left on the enemy team, which is 2 artillery, a heavy tank, and a tank destroyer. And this game was actually on stream, so you can watch it back live if you want, and you can see what we were going through at the time. And we know where the 2 artillery will be. It'll be obvious, really, that they're going to be at, like, B1, A1, right in that corner near their base, because that's usually where they are. The Black Prince was spotted. He's just been shut down by the Gorinich. And the tank destroyer, we saw shells. We saw shells fly from up there. So it's like, okay, the Demolisher, which is left, because this is a tier 8 game, the Demolisher that's left is up in that TD spot that tends to attract those sorts of TDs at C1. So, okay, I'm pretty free to come after these artillery. And I'm hoping to pick up Pascucci's medal, which is always nice to get in a light tank, right? If my driving is great. I was trying to avoid their cap to not alert the artillery that I'm coming. I didn't really need to take myself into the map border there, but hey-ho. And I was expecting maybe the artillery to be in the corner. If he's not, he'll be here. And this is where having the camo's nice, because he doesn't spot me shooting him. And then finally, this guy does. But we're going to keep shooting him in the same spot, because we've damaged his ammo rack. And there we go. We blow the ammo rack of the final artillery, which is always lovely. Finish with the victory. The 5 kills, 2.8k damage, 271 assistance, ace tanker Pascucci's. And, yeah, 2022 base XP in a tier 8 game. Really nice game for the AMX 1357. And, yeah, it just showed what it can do in terms of the gun, to be honest. Because it is one of those satisfying guns. Like I say, you can see the similarities between this and the Teethbreaker in terms of the way the gun behaves, right? That you've got the 8-shot autoloader that does 90 damage per shell, and has a 1-second intraclip, so it spits out the rounds very, very quickly. And if you do get all of those rounds into the enemy tanks, and you get that perfect clip, it's just so satisfying. And the one thing that makes the 1357 great fun is the premium rounds, to be honest, because then you don't have to worry. It takes your mind off of the ammunition problem, and that is the fact, you know, having to try and keep your eye on your ammunition during the heat of battle, which is difficult enough, and make sure that you're going to keep your rounds, going to have enough rounds to be able to complete the battle, and not have a situation where you end up having only 1 shell left and you end up reloading, which is kind of awkward. Plus, the shell velocity. The shell velocity on the premium rounds is 1400 meters a second, or 1463, as opposed to the 1100 on the standard round, which makes this gun feel far more accurate when you're firing it as well. So the premium rounds are a big thing on this tank, and usually I would probably think about taking full premium, just because it's a meme tank. It is a full-on meme. It's a hell of a lot to play, fun to play as a meme, and yeah, taking that worry off your hands with the premium rounds is always a good thing. And that's the other thing with this tank, is that this tank has a reliance on having to fire a lot of premium in general, especially in tier 9 games, and then you run out of premium rounds, and then you have standard rounds, and you really struggle against the tier 9s. I mean, there's some tier 9s you really can't pen at all, which is awful. Even with the premium, to be fair, like an Object 257, unless you get the rear. But, yeah. You get the point. This is why I say the Eagle 7 is probably a better pick as well in general for a lot of people, because you don't have to have that reliance on the premium rounds a lot of the time. So as you can see on Malinovka in this second game, we've taken this position at D6, which is always a very strong position to take. You do have to be careful, though, because people do like to YOLO you, even though it costs them their entire tank. And as you can see, well, the Rover, that was a nice little assassination shot there from the Rover. I say assassination, he didn't kill us, but you get the point. It was a nice little shot from the Rover there. This KV-85 clearly had the vibes of, he's just going to come for us. He is using the 122, though, which means his gun depression is terrible. So all we have to do, and his accuracy as well, is try our best to just duck, dodge, dip, dive, and dodge. And luckily, he missed. So I ended up sliding on the ridge, and while I was still spinning and trying to just move in, I was just trying to make myself unpredictable, to be honest, in my movements, and hope and pray that he missed. And thankfully, he did, which is always great. We're up to 1600 damage with 305 assistance. We're spotting all these guys that are climbing the hill. The light tank on, well, the wheelie boy on the hill actually gets a shot into us, which is kind of annoying. And I'm just trying to take pot shots here at people as they're climbing. So we get a nice shot into the Hellcat there. Again, that's where the premium round is really nice, because there's basically no travel time whatsoever. And we are managing to get some nice shots into these people that are on the hill, putting us up to 1900 damage. And I'm thinking, do I reload, or do I try and get these last 3 shells into someone? Well, I could get them into this light tank, but you know what? I'm going to get them into this Churchill 7 that is down there, because he's fully exposed. So we managed to get those shells in. Now wait for the reload, which is always lovely on this tank, because it's only got a 13-second reload, which you can boost with food, and it gets even better. Well, a 12, yeah, 13 seconds, 12.97, but a 13-second reload on this tank is really, really nice. Boost with food, you get it down to 12, and you never feel like you're out of the game for very long, which is, again, another reason why this tank is so memey and so much fun to play, because it's like you drop the clip and then you're like, haha, I'm ready to go again, you know, and you can have a lot of fun with that. And I did say this gun is just so satisfying when it hits. So as you can see, we're just looking for a shot at some of these guys. The Wheelie Boy is not leaving us alone. I was thinking about going for shots onto the Tiger P, but actually the T71DA is all the way over here, and we're just going to pop some shots in. We don't quite have enough ammunition in the clip left to finish him off, but we did spot him up, so we got a bit of assistance for him. The Nashorn at the back is still alive, and I'm like, am I actually going to get a shot to kill this guy? It looks like I am, but no. Just as we fire, the Stern Panzer shuts him down. I'm thinking, right, where next for this clip? Tiger P or Cromwell? Well, actually, we can see this Cromwell, and through these bushes, we can stay concealed because our camo is really, really good. It's down to like 259, I think, still concealment, which is really, really good. And again, that's where having a camo build is really, really nice, because that way that guy could not see us while we got to farm his pretty much most of his hit points. And that put us up to 3.4k damage. We're seeing the Leo drop down. The Cromwell's just got blown up. And we know that the 3 guys on the hill, and then there's the Leo. So we pop a shot at the Leo on the move. And the other thing that helps with the shell velocity on the premium rounds, by the way, is shooting on the move, because that velocity means that it's far more likely to hit the targets that you're trying to aim at on the move and lead at the move, which is not the easiest thing in the universe. So having that sort of shell velocity helps you with that sort of thing. But now there's only 3 tanks left on the enemy team, which I haven't even looked at the Hellcat. You can see the Hellcat right now is charging. So we end up getting 2 shots into the back of the 45 TP. And it's like, oh god, there's the Hellcat. He hits us, rams us, and kills himself. It's like, okay. So we know now that the Wheelie Boy's dead. There's just the Polish Tier 7 heavy tank. And we are deciding to reload the full clip because we know we're going to get it in time before we get there. And here we go. We can just now unload on this guy. Unfortunately, we're ricochet there. But we'll just keep unloading the shots. 2-1 death to the 45 TP. And finish the game with a really nice total for the HMH AMX 1357. We're finished with the victory. 3 kills, 4.6k damage, 893 assistance, the ace tanker, the high caliber, the Confederate, and 2,211 base XP. A really great game for the 1357, which is an absolutely solid pick for this D-Day up. I would say behind the Eagle 7 for most people, but if you love light tanks, you will love this tank, and it's probably the best pick out of the lot. Absolute meme of a tank. You just have to know that you probably have to fire a lot of premium, especially with the amount of Tier 9 games that you will get in this tank. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!